Good morning, Year 3. So here is our last lesson of the week. It's our Friday lesson, okay? And your aim today is to think of fractions as numbers, okay? Which is still kind of looking at fractions on the number line. So here is our first page, okay? Here we've got the teacher, and she's got her number line, and she's got her 0 and she's 1, and she's split it up, okay? So could the arrows be fractions, do you think? Let's think. Are they going to be fractions? The answer obviously is yes, because at this end we've got 1. So these have to be less than 1, don't they? So it's not going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 or whatever. They have to be less than 1 because the top of our number line is 1. Okay, so have a look at how many numbers we've got here. What is our denominator going to be? Okay, how many equal parts have we got? What's our denominator going to be? So, okay, did you all count it? There was, if we include this one, which we should have done, there's 7 equal parts, isn't there? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 7 equal parts. So our denominator here is going to be 7 or sevenths. Okay, so what does each line represent on here between 0 and 1? Each is going to be worth 1/7, isn't it? So 1/7, for example, 2/7. Okay, so my first question to you here is, so I'm going to read out this bit first. So I am thinking of a number that one of the arrows is pointing to. Can you guess my number? So she's thinking of a number that one of these arrows are pointing to. Okay, so what could Miss Hall's number not be? What can her number not be? So I'm going to give you a few seconds to think about it. So her number can't be 0, can it? Because her arrow is not pointing to that one. Her number also can't be that one because there's no arrow on this one. And her number can't be 1 because there's no arrow pointing to this one. So the question is then, what is this fraction worth? What is this fraction? If we count up in fractions, remember it's out of sevenths. So 1/7, 2/7, 3/7. So we know that her number cannot be 3/7. So then, what could her number be? There are 5 other options. Her number could be, say it with me, 1/7, 2/7, 4/7, 5/7, or 6/7. Okay. So, and we can see that if we set it up like this. So we've broken down the number line here into sevenths at the top. So each one is worth sevenths. And then here, we're counting up, aren't we? Just as if we were adding our fractions. So 1/7, 2/7, 3/7, 4/7, 5/7, 6/7. Okay, and absolutely we said it couldn't be 3/7 because she wasn't pointing to this one, but it could have been any of these. Okay, so then we've got a number line like this, and I want you to think about this. Where would each of these numbers go? So if you had 1/3, where would you put this on your number line here? Okay, it's broken up into thirds for you. So where would 1/3 go? I'm hoping you're all kind of pointing at your screens about here. So this would be where 1/3 goes, okay? Because it's been broken up into 3 equal parts for us. Now here, where would 3/5 go? At the top, it's already broken it up into 5 equal parts for us into our fifths. I want 3/5. Where would 3/5 go? 1/5, 2/5, 3/5. That is where our line for 3/5 would go. Okay, and what about for eighths? Okay, here is our whole. It's been broken up into 8 equal parts into our eighths, and I want 3/8. So 1, 2, 3. This is where your line for 3/8 would go. Okay, and it's really important that you see that actually they're all worth 1. So the number line isn't any bigger just because it's broken up into 8. 1 doesn't get any bigger. 1 is still 1. Okay, if I have 1 crayon and I break it up into 8ths and put it back together, it will still be this length. If I break this crayon up into fifths, it will be in 5 pieces, but it would still be this length. Same for thirds. The 1 does not get any bigger, and you can see that here. Okay, eighths are much smaller because you've shared it by 8 people than fifths are, but they are still only equal to this amount. Okay, so having said that, we know that quarters are the biggest, aren't they? Because we've only had to share it between 4 people. So quarters are our biggest, then fifths, and then eighths. So I want you to think, what fractions would be, do you think, at A, B, and C? What do you think? You can use the lines underneath to help you. So I'm going to help you a little bit with A because it can be a tricky question. So here's A. If I go down onto my fractions wall, because this is what we call it, a fractions wall, okay, that's A. It's kind of in line here, isn't it, on our fifths line, but it's here. So it would be 1/5, 2/5. So I would say A is worth 2/5. Okay, so I want you to now have a go at B. What do you think B is worth? And what do you think C is worth? I'm going to give you about 10 seconds to count it and I'm going to give you the answer. Okay, so B, we can see is in line with our quarters line, isn't it, or our fourths. So it's in line with 1, 2. So we could say B is worth 2/4, okay, or 2/4. All right, but also look, it's in line with eighths. It's in line with 1, 2, 3, 4. It's also in line with 4/8. So you could have 4/8 there. Okay, and then C is here, and we're going to go down, and it's here on our quarter line. So 1, 2, 3. C is worth 3/4. Or if you go down, it's worth 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6/8. Okay, so that's your two options for C.